I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
One of America's newest racetracks, Iowa Speedway, is located in Newton, Iowa, and has been in operation since 2006. The 7/8 mile oval was designed and built under the auspice of NASCAR champion Rusty Wallace at a cost of approximately $70 million. The D-shaped oval is patterned after Richmond Raceway, the scene of some of Rusty's greatest successes during his career. Purchased by NASCAR in 2013, Iowa Speedway has a seating capacity of more than 30,000. Together with a unique multi-tiered RV viewing area along its 869-foot backstretch, the track hosts Xfinity Series, Craftsman Truck, and ARCA Series events annually, along with the IndyCar Series and Firestone Indy Lights. Tonight, the big lights are on. It's the DEP Graphics Truck Series NTG Trucking Championship 160. And it's next on HBR TV. Good evening, good afternoon, happy Saturday, everybody. I know this race was supposed to air on Tuesday night. Had a little travel plans for, unfortunately for the day job, so we were not able to cover this one live, but here we bring it to you semi-live. We are live here at HBR TV, bringing you tape-delayed coverage of the NTG Trucking Championship 160. I'll have to correct that up in there just for a moment. But nevertheless, race details for tonight: 160 laps, 78-degree air temperature, 55% humidity, partly cloudy skies, and a track temp of 105 degrees. Qualifying is already in the books, and we are starting to grid up here trackside, so let's do just that. Let's go down trackside for our starting grid here from Iowa Speedway. On the pole position with a lap time of 23.289 seconds, it's the Track Bar Media number 89 of Brian Rose. Outside front row championship contender Zach Millett. Row number 2, the number 13 of Paul Durkee. Fluffy Charon's going to roll off from P4. The number 78 could be the number 9, depends on what he's working with here tonight. Larry Dickerson, the 69 truck, he'll start in the 5th spot. Chris Klein, second in the points coming into tonight. He starts from P6. 7th starter, the number 19 truck, it's going to be Brandon Coleman with Justin Lawson in the number 20 machine starting in P8. With EV Racing in the 9th position, it's the 71 of Blaine Woodruff. Wants us to talk a lot about him here tonight. Hopefully he has something to show us out on the Speedway. Paul Ferdiani is going to start in P10 also with Plus EV Racing. Starting in the 11th spot, it's the 00 Joe Bennett, also of Plus EV Racing. Mike Adamson's going to start to his outside with Platinum Racing. Scott Milner, the number 31, rolls 13th with Rob Chipman Jr., the 55, starting in the 14th spot. Jeff Ottinger with Wicked Loose Racing. Every time I hear that, I think of Boston. Number 76 starts 15th. Tony Polk's going to start in P16 with good old Vincent Short starting in the back, 17th spot, the final row, the number 15. And Derek Welch is going to get credited here with the 18th starting spot. Not sure if he's going to start this one or if he's just kind of watching, but either way, series finale here at Iowa Speedway. Getting ready to get these trucks out onto the Speedway for two formation laps before we get things underway here from Iowa. Field starting to roll out of pit lane. View from the tower into turn 4. Not getting a whole lot of race audio from these trucks. Hybrid vehicles possibly, who knows? Well, we'll stick with the blimp. You can hear them here at least. First pace lap complete. Let's take a look at the point standings coming into tonight. Again, it is the finale. Zach Millett comes in with a 14-point advantage over Chris Klein. 16 over Paul Durkee, Brian Rose, 17, Joe Bennett, 21. Truthfully, this whole top 10 eligible for this championship, I think it's really just going to come down to who finishes where. Safe to say, if you win the race, you're going to win the title. Of course, Zach Millett, race winner last week. Dylan Bryant was second, and Mike Adamson was P3. Looks like Derek Welch is going to sit this one out. 17 truck field as we get ready to take the green flag. Green flag in the air. We're racing here from Iowa. Millett goes to the high side, a half truck, now a full truck ahead of teammate Brian Rose out of turn number 2. Alfie Charon in behind. Big gaggle of trucks in behind them, side by side, a big pair, about 5 trucks on contact. Into the 51 goes the 69 truck, already in trouble here at Iowa. Do we get a caution? Do we not? We stay under the green flag. Interesting. Saw it right on the start. Larry Dickerson involved in that, as well as the 51 of Chris Klein, a championship contender coming into tonight. Tough way to start this one off. Meanwhile, Millen out in front, 0.2 of a second, the advantage back to Brian Rose, and it's Alfie Charon, and then the 13 of Paul Durkee. He stands to gain some ground here with Chris Klein having early troubles. Race mix-up has got this field spread out already here, only 4 laps in. Millett still with the race lead over Rose, Charon, Durkee, Coleman. P6 is Justin Lawson, Blaine Woodruff 7th, 8th, 00 Joe Bennett, Rob Chipman Jr. in 9th, Paul Ferdiani started 10th, runs 10th. Larry Dickerson has gone to pit lane for some repairs. And first one of the night No caution, though, does not come out. Curious as to why. It seemed we had a couple of trucks there that could have warranted that yellow flag. Just doesn't come out. Dickerson still in the pits trying to get some repairs made. It's early on. I stand to gain some ground here depending on what happens to the rest of the field throughout this race, but time will tell. Brandon Coleman running in P5, no pressure out back. The closest to him is teammate Justin Lawson. Back further, Blaine Woodruff. So he's sporting an old Jimmy Spencer paint scheme with the Camel Joe's colors. Takes me back to the day. Double O Joe running back in the 8th spot. Rob Chipman Jr. back to the P9. He's already up 5 positions. Mike Adamson now up into the 10th spot. At least for a moment. A little connection issue with Paul Ferdiani. He disappeared for a moment. He may have been involved in that first lap incident as well. The 33 showing signs of damage on the left side of his machine. Mike Adamson, it looks like he's in the 88 truck here. Trying to take that 10th position away from Paul. Those of you wondering, hey, why does my paint look like that? Especially specifically you drivers that ran in this race. I have the replay, of course, but the paint that loads is the one that you're currently using, as in right now at this very moment. So if you switched out from your league paint into something else, this is the one that's going to show. It's all right, though. We'll get it worked out. Vincent Short running back in the 13th spot. Short running his IROC Spartan Logistics paint scheme. It's another league that he runs, I believe, on Thursday nights. HBR TV is going to pick that up here on Mondays here in July. Let's keep an eye out for that. Kind of goes back to the conversation we just had about the paint schemes and what loads properly and when and why it's a little bit different. Still recognize this 15 truck is Vincent Short, at least we do here at HBR TV, but just in case anybody wasn't sure, yes, that is indeed Vincent Short. Tony Polk in the 8 truck running in P15. He's up 1 spot. Chris Klein still on the racetrack. A little worse for wear, though. So Derek Welch clearing it up. I kind of expected that. He says, unfortunately, we run strictly on iRacing cautions. There's always someone fussing. Well, you called a caution for them and not for me, so take care of that. iRacing does it all. It does get frustrating, and some tracks are worse than others. We do see that happen quite a bit, and the same can happen even with a live admin. Sometimes they miss it, they don't see it on track or catch it in time, and it's a bigger issue after the fact, but we're all human, and even the computer screws it up, so it's no big deal. It is what it is. Chris Klein staying with it. Again, every point matters. He's got a deep hole to dig out of. Checking on things back out front. Millett still with the race lead, to no one's surprise. 3/4 of a second the advantage over teammate Brian Rose. So we're at lap 15 of 160. Rose maintaining his second position over the 78 of Alfie Charon. Again, Alfie's going to show a number 9 on his truck. That's okay. It's familiar to us. Durkee putting on some pressure on Alfie here, trying to take that 3rd spot. Durkee trying to find a way around here. Looks like Alfie's got a little bit better exit down the backstretch. Pretty equal into 3, but Alfie slides up the racetrack, gets a little out of the groove. Might actually have a run in doing that. Man, Millet is just on a tear. Out front, now 1 1/4 seconds over Brian Rose. He's gained a half second here in just a handful of laps. Gotta wonder if that's gonna be too much. Gotta take care of the tires in a place like Iowa Speedway. I know it's almost a mile at 7/8, but it's kind of like a big Richmond. Still gotta take care of your stuff. Still checking on other battles. Alfie Charon still running in P3 ahead of Paul Durkee and Brandon Coleman. The teammates starting to close in though. Seems like Alfie might be holding these two up slightly. Durkee still trying to work around the third place machine of Charon. It's tough because the preferred line around here, well, that's kind of what Alfie's running. It is kind of the fast way around. It makes passing difficult even if you do have a bit of a faster truck. Once you get some wear on the tires, it kind of becomes one groove. And Alfie slides up the track big time again. He's trying to build a run. We'll see if he can defend with it because Durkee's alongside here. Might have a nose out in front of the 9 as they work down into turn 1. Nope, not quite. Dives it in deep. Tries to get in there. Still side by side out of 2. Man, Alfie really is running that high line. Proving that there is 2 grooves here. Coleman coming into this picture as well. He's got some pace. Coleman out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Guys got to be careful, Coleman included. If these two in front of him come together, it's going to be a problem. And that high side really is working well for Charon, though. You saw it from the onboard perspective with Brandon Coleman. He really powers out of the corner. It's a great way to defend. Durkee's able to get down low alongside Charon, but can't complete that pass with the run that Alfie's getting out of the corner. He's also got to start looking in his mirror. Even though they're teammates, Coleman's going to try and push to the front here as well. If Durkee can't get it done, he's going to have to get a crack at it himself. Got Tom in the stream chat. There are no stage breaks in Thumbs Racing. So natural cautions or the checkered flag is about the only slowdown you're going to see. Still a great battle on this track here, watching Durkee and Alfie Charon battle it out. Still side by side, lap after lap after lap. He's got him clear, gets the power down out of turn 2. Little loose on exit, but he maintains the position. Move Paul Durkee up into P3. Now, Alfie Charon's got to hold off the 19 here. I don't know if that's going to last very long. Brandon seemed to be a little bit quicker than both of these trucks. Gets alongside out of 4, has to tuck back in behind. At the stripe, Alfie still has 4th. Oh, Coleman has to lift, almost gets into the door, Alfie Charon. And in lifting on the corner exit, almost spun himself out. Loses a couple of truck lengths off the 9. Derek Welch says, Tom's just being a smart ass. Well, now we know. Coleman slides up again, has to lift a little bit and keep the steering wheel turned hard left to avoid contact. Can't slide it all the way up the racetrack and open up that wheel with Charon machine up top. Coleman diving it down low once again. Has him clear. Slide job off a turn. Crossover from Sharon at the stripe. Coleman's got him for now with the switcheroo. And Alfie takes the spot back. Another crossover coming. Coleman goes to the bottom. Does he have him clear out of 2? He does. Little ring around the rosy over here with these two, changing positions either end of the racetrack. Now Coleman way up the track, has to lift, almost gets a piece of the safer barrier. Not much happening out front, guys. Millett still out to a 2.5 plus advantage over Brian Rose. Then it's Paul Durkee in P3. He's 3.8 seconds back. And we watch this battle with Brandon Coleman and Alfie Sharon. It's about 5 seconds back from race leader Zach Millett. I don't know, we talked about it a little bit briefly early in the broadcast about wondering if Millett was pushing too hard out in front of this field, but he continues to increase his lead over the rest of the competitors. Either he just wasn't pushing too hard or he was just carefully taking care of the tires on that truck, or he's just able to make the adjustments necessary on the worn tires. Look at Alfie Sharon. He was fast early, started 4th, was as high as P3, but has since started to fall back. You wonder if he's just abused his tires a little too much too early within the run. So often that driving style alone can kind of dictate how well the tires are taken care of. I know I'm dating myself here, but you remember that scene in Days of Thunder when Harry and Cole are testing tires and trying it my way and trying it your way. And if you do, I'm going to beat you. Slow is fast in many cases, and in many cases that slow speed, that slow pace takes care of the tires a little bit better. It keeps that generally average good pace solid throughout the course of the run versus the guys that just go hammer down for the first 5-10 laps, abuse the tires, get them hot early, then they get blistered, they greasy, they melt, slip and slide, and you're out of control. In this case for Alfie Sharon, he's just lost a couple of spots, but he's still maintaining the gap between himself and the 19. Coleman getting into some lap traffic here, the 33 of Paul Ferdiani. Millett still all alone front of this field as we get to lap 39, almost quarter distance already. Meanwhile, Paul Ferdiani trying to get down into pit lane. I don't know if he had an incident out of turn 2, but he's in the pits nonetheless. Got Iron City beer on the hood. I keep forgetting to ask. I don't know if Paul's a Pittsburgh guy or not. But I think that's where that's out of, is Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. IC beer, IC lights. Paul uses the fast repair here. Cycling through different cameras here. Bear with me, guys. Ferdiani down and away. He's going to go more laps down, but at least he's got the repairs made. Got to cross his fingers here, maybe get a couple of cautions, work his way back onto the lead lap. But again, long road to hoe, 2 laps down, 41 laps in. Again, just past the quarter distance. We're going to jump out, get an HBR TV side-by-side break out of the way. Stay with us. You won't miss a moment of the action. We'll be right back.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Iowa Speedway for the NTG Trucking Championship 160. Season finale here at Iowa Speedway. Zach Millett still checking out, 2.25 seconds ahead of teammate Brian Rose, just increasing that distance. Certainly got that truck in full send mode. Picks up another 10th between turns 2 and 3. Well, some pit stops underway. Justin Lawson in his pit box. Looks to be a scheduled stop. Lawson down and away, 14.42 seconds. A quick stop for the 20. Lawson back on the track. Nobody else taking the bait just yet. Lawson may have a bit of an undercut. Leader's last lap at 24.78. His best lap of the day is at 23.43. So pretty good amount of fall off on the older tires. Lawson may be able to make up some ground in pitting earlier than everybody else, but eventually it's going to come back through, and Lawson might be in trouble. He is. Crashes here on the front stretch down to the drag strip area. Hits the inside pit wall. We stay under the green flag here. Single truck incident. This happening just after his pit stop. There goes that strategy. These trucks can be a bit of a handful on fresh tires as the tire pressures are not up to spec just yet. Got to get some heat into them before that'll happen. Meanwhile, Zach Millett now, he's coming down pit lane. Brian Rose inherits the top spot. Paul Durkee's going to come down here with the 315 as well. Got Dr. Shakalulu, or however I'm saying it, in the stream chat says, thanks for doing the broadcast, Steve. I appreciate it. I'm happy to do it. Certainly kind of make a little bit of a living doing this. So any chance I get to do it, I'm going to do it. Even if it is on a tape delay, I appreciate you guys letting me do that. Oh, it's Double O Joe. All right, perfect. Well, thanks, Joe. Bill in the pits. Right side's changed. Left side's in the air. Dropping the jack down and away. 15.04 in the pit box for Zach Millett. Blaine Woodruff. Well, there we go, Blaine. We can talk about you here at the front of the field. Lap 57, the 71 takes over the top spot. Out of turn 4, it's official at the stripe. He's going to lead it. Double O Joe Bennett up to P2. These two drivers still need to make their pit stops. Brian Rose is just leaving the pits from that number 1 pit box. He's down and away. 14.72, his pit stop. Very quick time for Brian Rose. Got Robert Edgerton. Thanks, Steve, for the broadcast. Says that's the number 20 SS. Does that mean it's Justin Lawson? I don't know what the SS is, but either way, certainly appreciate the thanks. Joe Bennett down pit lane from the second spot. Woodruff remains out front, but now he also comes to the attention to his pit crew here for his first scheduled stop of the night, lap 59. Looks like they can actually get this race done in 2 stops. If they play their cards right, we don't get any cautions. Remains to be seen. We'll see how it plays out. Four tires and fuel for the 71 of Blaine Woodruff. It's going to be the recipe, I think, for everybody coming down pit lane. I can't imagine they're going to opt for 2 tires at any point tonight. Blaine rejoins in P7. Still up 2 positions from where he started this afternoon. Rob Shipman and Jeff Ottinger battling a bit here. Shipman in number 55, the Wrangler, the blue truck. Jeff Ottinger in behind the number 76 F-150. Riding on board with Rob Chipman Jr. Trying to maintain that 8th position over Jeff Ottinger. Double O Joe Bennett's back into the 10th position after his pit stop. Vincent Short has worked his way up into the 11th spot. Looks like everybody on track has completed their first round of green flag stops. Paul Ferdiani, though, again, not on the lead lap currently. His pit stop lap 37. Going to be a little bit off cycle. That's okay. Ottinger still trying to work over Chipman, gets to the bottom, can't get alongside. Meanwhile, I got to mention here, Millett out in front, 6.5 seconds. The advantage for that S4 guy after pit stops. We've talked about it a bunch this season. That is his strong point, I guess you could say, without being a little too redundant, and is getting on and off of pit lane very quickly. Guy waits until the very last second to hit the brakes. In many cases, four-wheel lockup, get into that commitment line into pit lane. Again, knock on wood, haven't seen him get popped for too fast entering at all this season, and that in itself is a feat. But he came down pit lane with a 2.5 second advantage over Brian Rose, and after the pit stops, it's 6.7, now 6.8. And then he got to deal with his raw pace. It's just tough. How do you beat a guy like that? Millett starting to close in on some lap traffic. Vincent Short, Double O Joe Bennett. And ahead of them, it's that Chipman Jr. and Ottinger battle. 4 trucks fighting for position here, again ahead of the race leader. I think Millett's going to take his time trying to work his way through here. Doesn't want to cause a problem. He's got a pretty standard, pretty healthy lead over P2, Brian Rose. Going to have to pick these guys off one at a time and do it very carefully. So Millett just now exiting turn number 2. Sorry, Brian Rose, that is. Millett just now getting to start finish, so he is in cruise control mode. He's giving up a little ground here. As I said, he's going to be cautious getting around this lap traffic. If he continues to run the way that he is, he's got a championship in hand. As we approach the halfway point of tonight's race, he doesn't want to risk too much trying to go around these lap trucks. Yes, he needs to get by them, but they're all battling for position, at least these 2 and 3 ahead of him. Got to leave some space here in case they come together. A problem occurs on track in front of the 315. He can make the necessary adjustments to avoid any kind of an incident. But personally, the best way to avoid the incident is to have them behind you. Easier said than done in many cases. Chipman Jr., though, goes up the racetrack. Millett takes the opportunity to put Chipman a lap down. You can really see how much space Millett is giving these lap trucks. He closed in very quickly as they battled for position. Again, still very methodically taking his time. Really not even to catch up to these guys. He's not in a hurry to get around them. Wants to create as much distance out the front and the back of his truck, so he doesn't need to worry about anybody. Well, while they run around here, lap 77, we're approaching halfway. Let's try to go through the field here. Zach Millett, of course, your race leader, started outside front row. Teammate Brian Rose had the pole, but Millett took over the top spot pretty much right away as he goes around the 33 of Paul Ferdiani. Brian Rose, again, your pole sitter. He's led, I think, a lap or 2 tonight. That's about it thus far. Brian, I'm sure, would love to be up there battling with Zach Millett, but just does not seem to have the raw pace that the 315 does at this stage. Good old Fluffy Jared running in the third position once again. Hopefully he's got a better strategy to save the tires, more so than he did in that first segment of the race. Paul Durkee knocking on the back door, though. He wants that position back. It's been the battle between these two a bit here tonight. Paul started in P3, wants to be at least back in that spot. Brandon Coleman out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Again, the Birdsong Brewing Company colors. Been sporting that all season long. Number 19 runs in the 5th spot. Good old Blaine Woodruff. Trying to give him some more TV time. He so desperately wanted it tonight. 71 Camel Joe's Ford F-150. It's a great paint scheme. Definitely one of my favorites over the years. If you look at it in the right light, it almost looks like it's a 3D book. Throw on them 3D glasses. I bet it would look kind of cool. Woodruff running in the 6th spot. Started 9th here today. Mike Adamson running in the 7th position, having a strong day, comes to pit lane. Might be into our 2nd round of green flag stops here pretty soon. Seems kind of early, but maybe we're trying the undercut. Jeff Ottinger in the number 76, again familiar colors, the Beechcraft Ford out of Goodrich, Michigan. Jeff started 15th up to 7th. Vincent Short runs in the 8th position, up 9 positions so far. He started back at 17th. Double O Joe Bennett right in behind. That would be a battle for position if he can get to the tailgate of the 15 truck. Joe started 11th, runs 9th. Rob Chipman Jr., the number 55 machine out of Sterling, Connecticut. Also having a decent evening, up in the 10th spot from 14th. Scott Milner running 11th, started 13th, number 31. Chris Klein, 2nd in points coming into tonight. Chris out of Buford, Georgia, having an issue on that very first lap. Klein is still 2 laps down in 12th. Paul Ferdiani also 2 laps down, the next driver in line. And indeed, as we said with the Iron City beer on the hood of that number 33, he is indeed out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Great town. Mike Adamson runs 14th after his pit stop. We talked about that just a moment ago. We were talking about him as he hit pit lane. Tony Polk in the 8 out of Waterford, Michigan. He runs 15th, up 1 spot. Dustin Lawson not on the racetrack at this stage of the game. Neither is Larry Dickerson. And Derek Welch will show him anyway, but he did not take the green flag. So here we are, past halfway from Iowa Speedway. We're going to take another HBR TV side-by-side break. We'll be back right after this.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Iowa Speedway for the NTT Trucking Championship 160. Laps are dwindling here at the Speedway, and Zach Millett setting sail. Dominant performance, already clinched the most laps led here at the Speedway. 96 in of 160. 6.2 seconds the advantage over second place Brian Rose. Paul Durkee runs third. Alfie Charon and Coleman. While it was Coleman, now it's Blaine Woodruff fighting for more airtime. Woodruff in the sixth spot, the number 71 Camel Joe's entry. Again, if I had to pick a favorite paint scheme tonight, it's definitely going to be the number 71. That thing is sharp. I think it had a 23 on it in real life. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll call that a little bit of trivia. If anybody out there remembers that Jimmy Spencer paint scheme when he ran the Smokin' Joe's sponsorship, I think it was 23. I could be completely wrong. Even got the Zippo logo on there out of Bradford, PA. Blaine is giving Coleman all he can handle, though. Seems that he's actually a bit faster. Look at these two. The pit stop for Coleman was lap 55. Woodruff has got 4-lap newer tires. He's running about a tenth of a lap faster, but again, just cannot get around the 19, at least for now. Say we're within 5 to 10 laps of another round of green flag stops. Specifically to Zach Millett, his stop came at lap 55. If he continues to work the way that he is, lap 110 would be a reasonable time to stop for the second time. And that would give him 50 laps to get to the end, so plenty of fuel extra in case there was a green-white checkered finish. Ellie right on board with Alfie Charon. Got to thank Alfie for sporting the HBRTV1.com address on the rear spoiler. Check that out. It's our brand new website. We've got a photo gallery, a couple of hot links to the social media, and even a live tab. If you want to just find the live races there instead of hunting us down on YouTube, just go to HBRTV1.com/live or go to the main page and it's up in the upper right corner of your screen. Just click live and it'll take you to the most recent broadcast. Coleman underneath. Charon through the middle of 3 and 4. Can't quite clear. We saw this early on. That outside lane. Alfie takes the low lane away from Coleman. Now he's going to slide back up the racetrack. Crafty move for the driver of the night truck. Alfie really rolling the center there. Now here comes Blaine Woodruff. He's going to try and take a shot here at Coleman. He goes to the inside. He's got him clear, slides up. Yep, he's got the room. Lap 105. Zach Millett still at the point. 7.3 seconds out in front. Meanwhile, Paul Durkee and Brandon Coleman coming to pit lane at the same time. Teammates once again trying to work together with some strategy. Man, I'll tell you though, Millett's got him lapped up to P4 already. Top 4, Millett, Rose, Charon, Woodruff. Ottinger, first truck, 1 lap down at least for now with these pit stops underway. That may change. Four tires and fuel for both drivers. Durkee's down and away, so is Coleman. 14.73 the pit stop for Durkee, 15.11 for Coleman. Brian Rose down pit lane from P2. Trying to undercut Millett here just a bit, get some fresh rubber on, see what kind of track position he can make up. Millet goes on by. Now Brian Rose goes down a lap. Now the top three, the only trucks on the lead lap, and they're battling for position. Sharon and Blaine Woodruff side by side here at the stripe. Lap 108. This is the battle for the second spot currently. Again, pit stops already underway here during the green flag cycle. Almost a moot point right now, but nevertheless, it's fun to watch, and we're going to do just that. Out of turn number 2, Sharon to the outside. Woodruff down low, the number 71. You got to start wondering, though, as these guys continue to battle, they're going to have to pit soon anyway. It could be a detriment here to Alfie Sharon as he's got someone to the bottom of his racing line. Can't really dive it down into pit lane when somebody's there, but he battles back around the outside, takes the position. Woodruff might try to battle it back here. Yes, he does, taking a peek down the back straightaway. Chris Klein in the pits. Lap 110 up on the board. Be curious. Millet is coming right now to pit lane. You see him sliding those tires around. He doesn't need to worry about flat spots. They're all coming off. It's going to be 4 tires and Sunoco Racing fuel for that S4 guy from the lead down pit lane. The only thing that would kill him now would be a caution. Well, actually, it'd probably help because he'd be able to finish his pit work and move on. Chris Klein rejoining the fight, and anything could happen. Meanwhile, Alfie Sharon has inherited the lead here with Woodruff still battling for that position. Woodruff wants a shot at the lead again. At the line, though, it's going to be Sharon. Shipman Jr. down pit lane. Lead lap trucks number at 7 presently. As Woodruff goes to the inside here on Sharon. Not quite clear. Yes, he is now. Sharon came down to pit lane last at lap 56, and here he comes right now. Lap 112, and he overshoots it. Has to go back on the racetrack. That's going to be a tough one. He's going to lose a ton of track position. Tried to get in there as hot as possible. Slid the nose. Almost got into the water barrels. You see Chris Klein going through the grass as well. Post pit stop, that's when things get a little scary. Again, tire pressure is not where they need to be. Tire temperatures are nice and cold. See, Alfie's going to have to try this one again here, again at the detriment of a lot of track position. And he does it again, twice. Misses the pit lane entrance. Hopefully he's got enough fuel to try this one more time. I don't know if he's getting dinged for shortcutting the lap. I know he's losing a lot of track position regardless of that. Oh, this is tough. And he's still actually in the lead. How is that? Well, everybody pit, so I guess it makes sense. Let's try this again. Real slow into 3 and 4. Third time's the charm for Fluffy Sharon, fluffing his way to pit lane. Oh, that's embarrassing. I'm glad we caught it. We kid because we care, Alfie. Millet back out in front, and Brian Rose with the undercut definitely gained some time. Cut the deficit in half. It's still 3.8 seconds. Lap 115. 46, going to be 45 laps to go at the stripe. Paul Durkee and Brandon Coleman running 4 and 5. That is Blaine Woodruff, Jeff Ottinger, Double O, Joe Bennett, and Alfie Sharon in P9. Alfie's still... Is he still on the lead lap? No, he's not. He's certainly down a lap. Truthfully, the only trucks on the lead lap are the top 5, and that's Millet, Rose, Adamson, Durkee, Coleman. Adamson has jumped up into that top 5. He started 12th here tonight. Big time battle here behind those with Vincent Short. Short's got some pace right now, kind of knifing his way through the field. It's short work of the 19. Now he's working on the 13 of Paul Durkee. And this is not for position. Vince running in P10. Durkee and Coleman third and fourth. Vince just trying to hunt the leaders down to get a lap back. At least get towards the front, maybe work on getting through the field to get up to Blaine Woodruff. He's the first truck one lap down in P6. He would be the lucky dog if we get a caution. Ooh, awful close to the outside wall. Short stays off it, but looks like he's certainly gotten a piece of it at one point tonight. Right side of that truck showing a little bit of wear. 40 laps to go from Iowa Speedway. Zach Millett still just whooping on this field here tonight. We're going to jump out, take our final HBR TV side-by-side break. We'll be back all the way to the finish, barring a yellow flag. After this, stay with us.
I met Marco Sgarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
The home stretch from Iowa Speedway, the Championship 160 presented by NTG Trucking. Hasn't really been a barn burner with the dominant Zach Millett out in front. Plenty of battles to watch throughout the pack, though. Glad these guys are still racing hard for every position as we have 30 laps remaining here from Iowa Speedway. Zach Millett out in front. Brian Rose, second. Paul Durkee, Brandon Coleman, Blaine Woodruff, the top 5, and the only trucks currently on the lead lap. Pit stops are all complete. Unless we see a yellow flag, I would not expect to see anyone down pit lane here before this one's over at this point. Back to this battle around the 4th position. Paul Durkee in 3rd there at the front of that pack. It's the 19. Brandon Coleman in 4th. Blaine Woodruff runs 5th, but a ways back from this pack. You got Shipman and Chris Klein there behind, but they're not on the lead lap. Shipman runs 10th. Klein runs 12th. Shipman a lap down. Klein 2 laps down. You have 3 drivers officially out of this race. Paul Ferdiani, Justin Lawson, and Larry Dickerson. Derek Welch did not take the green flag tonight. Maybe just turned some laps in practice, but we did not see him on the track for the race itself, so I guess you could count him as well as the 4th out of this one. 751 of Mike Adamson remains on the pit lane. In fact, he may be out of this one as well. In fact, he's not in the session. It just hasn't quite updated yet. Tell you, Klein and Shipman, though it's not for position, having a great battle here as well. 51 of Klein on the bottom, 55 of Shipman, the blue truck up top. Derek Welch in the stream chat. WTH, failing to understand. Still some great battles here. Klein and Shipman fighting again just for the sake of it, not for position. Shipman is in 10th. Klein is in 12th, though Klein is on the racetrack ahead of the 55. It's still a fun one to watch. Blaine Woodruff still running in P5. Yes, Derek, I know what WTH means. I'm just wondering why we're saying it. Klein a little loose out of turn 4, keeps it straight. Still Millett, Rose, Durkee, Coleman, and Woodruff. Good season coming along here, especially here late for Durkee and Coleman. Really all those guys. Birdsong Brewing sponsored vehicles, the GOATs as they call themselves, really picked up the pace here in the latter stages of the season. Became more frequent flyers in that top 3. He's mad that I called him Larry. So there's a guy that I know here in my hometown. His name is Larry, and his last name is Welker. So I got the well, and my brain just took over. Sorry, Derek. Don't fire me. 21 to go here from Iowa. Millett, of course, still out in front, putting on a clinic. It's big short tracks right in the wheelhouse of Zach Millett. Not that he's not good just about everywhere we go, maybe with the exception of the super speedways. It's kind of his Achilles heel. But it's kind of what those tracks do. It evens up the field. Anyone's really got a chance as long as they keep all the fenders on the truck. A place like Iowa, a little different story. As you can see, we've only got 5 trucks still on the lead lap, and that's Millett, Rose, Durkee, Coleman, Woodruff. Blaine Woodruff, he said it before the race even started. Make sure you talk about me a lot tonight. Well, I think we have, and to be honest, he's actually earned it. He's been involved here in different battles. He's been out front. He's led some laps. Solid run for the 71 here tonight. Though I dare say he may be going down a lap here pretty soon as Zach Millett is closing in. Look out the back window. That's Zach Millett looming large out in the back. Chris Klein in the stream chat. Best first half of a lap I ever ran. I so had Millet. You know, you've had a good season, Chris. You were second coming into the race tonight as far as the points were concerned. We'll never know. It is what it is. Job well done either way. Durkee and Coleman battling again here just for that final position. Durkee's got the third spot for now. Coleman really wants to get up there in that top three. Chris Klein's knocking on the door. Again, not for position. He's just out there having a good time. I gotta, man, I don't know. I would be pretty dejected if I were him in this instance, only making it a half lap and having that much damage and being at that much of a deficit right off the bat. But he stuck it out, man. He's here 15 laps to go. Racing guys, not for position, just for the sake of it, which, I don't know, some might say that's a bad thing, but it's the last race of the year. Go big or go home. Yeah, we've all learned a lot from Millet, and that's what Chris Klein says in the chat here. Thanks, Steve. I learned a lot from Millet. It's tough to go out and get spanked once in a while by a guy, or almost every week. I get it. We brought Millet into the HBR fold of things, and I was kind of the road course guy at that point. But Millet is so fast, not just on ovals, but road courses too, that I don't even really do all that well on road anymore. But I will say that following Zach on road courses and even ovals has certainly improved my game, though I don't race anywhere near as much as I used to. But that's the best way to learn, man. Go out, race against guys that are faster than you. You will absolutely get faster if you do that. It's kind of the intent, I think. As Chris Klein gets the fence here, trying to get way out of the way of race leader Zach Millet. At least we're going to say that. That wasn't a mistake. That was Chris Klein just making sure he wasn't in the way. Off turn 4, coming to 11 laps to go. Millet has such a strong season so far. It's very interesting the points structure that Numb Thumbs Racing League and Derek Welch kind of put together for this particular league. Is even though Millet was so dominant, can you look at the points coming in? He only had a 14-point lead over Chris Klein. Still opened the door and kept opportunities for all the drivers within that top 10, which I got to say is kind of a brilliant thing to do as a league owner, because it keeps the drivers showing up each week, because they still have a chance all the way to that final race. Millet with 12 wins on the season coming into tonight. Really is a feat, as this is the 16th race of the season. Really gives you an idea of how dominant the 315 has been. Many folks may watch these races and think it might look easy, but I assure you, even for a guy like Millet, it has not been easy. There's plenty of competition here in this series. More so to come here coming up in the fall of 2023. I think the week of September 11th, we kick things off with race 1 with the next season of this truck series. Be sure to tune in for that. We'll be here live on HBR TV. Trying to find a hole for their Xfinity series as well in that same time frame. Haven't quite got that ironed out, but fingers crossed we can make something work. 5 laps to go for Zach Millett, still 8 seconds ahead of teammate Brian Rose. Rose back in his track bar media truck. Coleman has finally made short work of the 13 of Paul Durkee, puts himself into the top 3 here late, 4 laps to go. Durkee's now going to fight off Woodruff. Woodruff is down to the bottom here. He's got a nose out in front off turn 2, and he's clear. Woodruff up into the 4th spot. Oh, Durkee in the fence off of turn 4, hits it pretty hard. A little mistake from the 19 as well. It's going to open the door for Blaine Woodruff. He goes to the outside in turns 1 and 2. Some late race action here. And Millett's right behind all of it. And you can see why he's backed off a bit, lost some ground as far as the advantage he has over Brian Rose. I think he's just going to kind of cruise home here. He doesn't want to get caught in a late race incident, but he's got to work his way through. Durkee up the racetrack in front of race leader Zach Millett. Remember, last time by, he pounded the outside wall with the right side of his truck. 2 laps to go for Millett. He's down to the inside here. Was 3 wide for just a moment with Chris Klein on the bottom. Millett trying to fish his way through some lap traffic. Lap and a half to go into turn number 3. Keeps it on the high side. White flag in the air. Final lap on the season here in the Numb Thumbs Racing League, the DEP Graphics Truck Series. Tonight's championship race, the Championship 160 presented by NTG Trucking. Zach Millett started outside front row, couldn't take that pole position, but man, he took the point right away. And off of turn number 4, it's a checkered flag, a 12th win on the season, 13th win on the season, and a championship for Zach Millett. Brian Rose congratulating Millett there as he comes down to celebrate. Don't hit Regan Smith out there, he's in the grass. Millett closing the book on the DEP Graphics Truck Series. Wins the race, wins the title, record number of race wins. Alfie Sharon congratulating Millett as well. Brian Rose jumping up once again, the 2nd place finisher. What a run. Big congratulations to all of those guys. Let's take a look here at our race results. Of course, Zach Millett, your race winner. Brian Rose was 2nd. Brandon Coleman finishes in that 3rd spot after fighting with a teammate, Paul Durkee, to get on by. Blaine Woodruff took advantage of that as well, finishes 4th. Paul Durkee was P5. Good solid finish there for Double O Joe Bennett in P6. 7th was Jeff Ottinger. Good old Fluffy Charon was 8th. Vincent Short was 9th. Rob Shipman Jr. P10. Scott Milner was 11th. 12th was Chris Klein. Tony Polk 13th. Mike Adamson was the 14th place finisher. Paul Ferdiani was 15th. Justin Lawson was 16th. Larry Dickerson was 17th. And Derek/Larry Welch credited with the 18th spot here. 160 laps down. Did not take the green flag here. Just having some fun with the boys here before this one started off. But that's going to wrap it up here. The NTG Trucking Championship 160 in the books. Zach Millett, your winner, your champion. Couldn't have asked for it to go a better way. Not the most entertaining races with the shellacking that Millett put on the field, but sometimes that's going to happen. We've had plenty of very entertaining races here this season. They can't all be gems, but overall, I'd say I give it an A- here for the Numb Thumbs Racing League in the DEP Graphics Truck Series. Make sure you guys tune in the fall. Again, we're going to go with another season here with Numb Racing League. Again, the week of September 11th of 23. I believe we are switching nights, maybe? Not 100%. I think it may be on Tuesdays. I got to go look. It's a ways out, folks. Don't worry. You won't miss it. I'm sure Derek and or myself will make sure that you see all of that information out on the social media channels. You won't miss a single lap here at HBR TV. Got to thank you guys all for jumping in here. Some of these tape-delayed broadcasts can be kind of tough, not getting a lot of people into the stream chat. But, man, we got this thing in green to checker with no yellows. We might have had a couple that should have been, but it didn't turn out that way. So another job well done by all drivers involved here tonight. Thank you guys all for watching. Again, thanks for being in the stream chat. That is a plus. I don't know what else to say, really, other but thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you at the next one. We're going to be off Sunday. No bull racing, but it's Motorsports Christmas. We got the Monaco Grand Prix Sunday morning, then, of course, the Indy 500 midday, and Coca-Cola 600 from Charlotte after that. So it's going to be a full day of racing. None of it here on iRacing, at least not for us here at HBR TV, but it's been fun. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you down the road at the next one. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good night.